What's going on, everybody? Ochoa here from SB Nation's bloggingtheboys.com. We hope all is well wherever you are. We hope you're happy, safe, healthy, and that you are getting ready for the 2021 NFL Draft. That's right. The draft is, about 3 weeks away, kind of depending how you want to look on it. A little half full, half empty, whatever the case may be. And we are super excited. We were going to have so much fun coverage for you at Blogging the Boys, both at bloggingtheboys.com, here on the Blogging the Boys YouTube channel, of course, all over our social media. Make sure you follow us everywhere. Subscribe right here to the Blogging the Boys YouTube channel because we have some takes and we have things that we want to talk about. And in fact, we're going to get started with one of them right here today. Kyle Pitts, University of Florida tight end, extraordinaire, superstar, big-time, awesome football player. Kyle Pitts is somebody who every football fan knows of right now. I am obligated to tell you, as a fighting Texas Aggie, that Kyle Pitts' Florida Gators lost to the fighting Texas Aggies. No big deal. But we're talking about who he is as a professional. The Dallas Cowboys hold the 10th overall pick in the 2021 NFL Draft. And so I'll ask you, should the Cowboys draft Pitts if he falls to number 10 overall? RJ, we need defense. Look, I'm not denying that, all right? This is where this argument has different sides, all right? You ask this question out loud, you lob it up on the Twitter timeline, and you get hit with all these people. Patrick Surtain, J.C. Horn, Micah Parsons, whatever the case may be. I want defense. I don't disagree with you. The Cowboys' defense was awful last year. We all know that. You know that. I know that. We all know that. However, we're talking about the best possible utilization of a draft pick. Now, Trevor Lawrence is without question the best draft prospect in this class. Cool. Enjoy him, Jacksonville Jaguars. It is possible. It is literally objectively possible that Kyle Pitts is the second best. If you are ranking all of the would-be draft prospects by their just individual talent as football players, Kyle Pitts is numero dos. Now, Patrick Surtain, certainly a very talented football player, but he is not as good at football overall. He's obviously better at playing defense and being a cornerback, but he is not as better of an overall football player as Kyle Pitts is. So I will ask you again. Shout it out wherever you are. Just shout it. Shout it. Shout it out loud. I hadn't thought about that song in a long time. But anyway, should the Kyle Pitts draft the Cowboys? Should the Cowboys draft Kyle Pitts if he falls to the 10th overall pick? Let me make a little bit of a case for you. All right, let's first of all take a look at some Kyle Pitts highlights. Look at this. Look with your eyes. Look with your ojos. Go up. Get it. Boom. Keep it going. Oh, yeah. That's awesome. That's what we love to see. Kyle Pitts, imagine this in the blue and white. He's already got a blue and white jersey on. Look at this. Go up. Boom. Although Texas A&M won that game, no big deal. Keep it going. Roll it on. Kyle Pitts. Kyle gets down, open, wide, down the field, run, separate, boom, boom, boom. Kyle Pitts. That's what we like. That's what we like to see. Now, here's the thing. I'm a really, really, really big fan of the idea of the Cowboys drafting Kyle Pitts if he falls to 10 overall. That's the first part of this discussion, all right? Because this would involve some scenario. We're obviously going to see a lot of quarterbacks go 1, 2, 3. We'll see what happens at number 4. Kyle Pitts is certainly a candidate to go right there to the Atlanta Falcons, but maybe they trade out. Maybe the New England Patriots, the Chicago Bears, somebody comes up to get, whether it's Mac Jones, whether it's Justin Fields, whatever the case may be. At 5, I think we're going to see one of the tackles go, right? We did a mock draft, by the way, here on the Blogging the Boys YouTube channel, so make sure you go check that out in our past videos. Connor Livesey, Dalton Miller, Cole Patterson from Talking the Draft join me. We will be doing it again on Tuesday, so make sure you set some time aside so you can join us as we mock it up. But one of the tackles probably going to go to Cincinnati. The Miami Dolphins could take, let's say, Jamar Chase, all right, at 7, right? 7, we'll see what happens. 8, 9. The point is, ultimately, Kyle Pitts could squeak through. It is unlikely because I don't think Detroit's a candidate and I don't think Carolina's a candidate to take him. Carolina, we know, just traded for Sam Darnold, etc., whatever. I think the true threats to taking Kyle Pitts before the Cowboys ultimately pick are the Atlanta Falcons at number 4, the Cincinnati Bengals at number 5, although a tackle probably makes the most sense, the Miami Dolphins at number 6. If Kyle Pitts cannot be a Cowboy, that's where we want him to end up the most. All right, the Miami Dolphins are in the opposite conference. Stay far away from us, Kyle Pitts, if you're not working at the Star at Frisco. All right, and what's more, All right, that pick that the Miami Dolphins have at number 6 overall used to belong to the Philadelphia Eagles. How cool would it be if Kyle Pitts does turn into a superstar to watch all Eagles fans forever know we could have had him. That was our pick, and we traded it away. That would be a lot of fun. And what's more, I'll do you one more. The New York Giants visit the Miami Dolphins this year. Kyle Pitts, we are, as Dallas Cowboys fans, we are very well accustomed to seeing tight ends run all over the New York Giants defense. Shout out to Jason Witten, the GOAT. Let Kyle Pitts do it again this season as the Cowboys cruise to an NFC East title. But if the Falcons don't take him, if the Bengals don't take him, if the Dolphins don't take him, that's kind of it. It's possible that somebody's in love with him, trades up. In Peter Schrager's mock draft that he did this past week at NFL.com, the Arizona Cardinals jumped up to 7 overall to take him. But if Kyle Pitts makes it to number 10 overall, there's no question that he is, without question, the best possible value. There's no player that will have more value with the 10th overall pick. If the Dallas Cowboys are staring at a situation where Kyle Pitts is on the board, there's none. You can love Patrick Surtain all you want, but he is not a better value than Kyle Pitts would be at that point. And if you think back, if we look at last year, obviously the Dallas Cowboys took CeeDee Lamb in the first round. Had the Cowboys drafted for need, because I know you, I know who you are, and you're saying, no, RJ, we need a cornerback. We need Patrick Surtain. This defense was awful. Again, I know. But if the Cowboys truly drafted for need, they would have taken Kayvon Chase on last year instead of CeeDee Lamb. There is a mixture of need, but the Dallas Cowboys do kind of have a sneaky sort of subtle need at tight end like they did at wide receiver last year. How is that the case? Well, let's consider that Blake Jarwin is, of course, returning this season from a torn ACL. Not fun. No bueno. It was a really awful thing that happened in the first game of the year last season, and we all are certainly excited to see Blake Jarwin take off in year number, I don't even know what year this is for Blake Jarwin, but year number 2 with the big-time contract is the point. So Blake Jarwin, cool. Dalton Schultz, who was serviceable, certainly in his stead, and was basically the Cowboys starting tight end for the entire season. Dalton Schultz was fine in 2020, and big fan of Dalton Schultz. He's a big gamer. He's a big twitcher. But Dalton Schultz is A, not somebody that you can say we're good because of Dalton Schultz, and B, what's more, if you really, really value Dalton Schultz, maybe you really believe he is the future, he is in a contract year. And we know the Dallas Cowboys don't typically love to pay a lot of money to people who are not franchise-changing players, and as much as we love Dalton Schultz, he is not a franchise-changing player. He's just a tight end. He's an average tight end right now in the NFL, and so the point is, a year from now, you're going to have Blake Jarwin, and we don't know what his season's going to look like ultimately, but you're going to have Blake Jarwin and nothing else. Kyle Pitts gives you a legitimately incredible option at that position for the foreseeable future. And what's more, who are the best tight ends in the NFL, right? You've got Travis Kelce, you've got George Kittle, you've got Darren Waller with the Raiders, and then it dropped. Actually, it's Travis Kelce and George Kittle, and then a little bit below them, it's Darren Waller. Maybe Jonnu Smith gets to that level with the New England Patriots this year. We'll see. But after that, it's like a mountain, and then a canyon, and then a black hole, and then just 500 football fields worth of distance before you get to the next tight ends. Because if you're not one of those dudes, you are really just average at best, right? Think about this. Kyle Pitts, upon being drafted, will be he'll be top 5 at his position, easily, right? He will easily be one of the 5 best tight ends in the NFL day 1. How often can you draft anybody, any player at any position, and have him automatically day 1 be top 5 at his position? You can't. That's impossible. You literally cannot do that. And so the fact that this is possible is why the Cowboys should consider it. But again, the fact that Dalton Schultz is in a contract year. What's more, Michael Gallup, we've discussed him. We had a video talking about whether the Cowboys should consider trading him. Michael Gallup is entering a contract year. When the Cowboys took CeeDee Lamb last year, the war cry, the old war cry of Dallas Cowboys Nation was that this team should never abandon 11 personnel. If you don't know what that is, 11 personnel describes the setting that the Cowboys are in offensively. 11 stands for 1 running back and 1 tight end. That means because you have 5 offensive linemen, you have a quarterback, you have 3 wide receivers on the field. That's 11 personnel. Now, 12 personnel is 1 running back and 2 tight ends, which means that one of those wide receivers has to run off the field. So you're taking a wide receiver off and bringing a tight end on. A year ago, that was silly, right? That was dumb. Don't take one of these awesome wide receivers out the field and bring on Dalton Schultz. What are you doing, right? You never want to be abandoning 11 personnel. guess what? If Kyle Pitts is on the Dallas Cowboys, suddenly 12 personnel is your friend. Suddenly 12 personnel allows you to have a versatile, athletic, powerful aerial weapon in Kyle Pitts on the field in matchups that are more favorable to him. And what's more is, let's be frank here, as innovative as the Dallas Cowboys offense has been for a long time, they are also kind of predictable. And so when the Cowboys are not in 11 personnel, it is generally a gigantic sign that they plan on not passing the ball. That's kind of the way the Cowboys operate. So if you have Kyle Pitts on your team and you are in 12 personnel, you are no longer predictable because you're no longer always going to run the ball out of 12 personnel. Kyle Pitts offers you this. And again, if Michael Gallup does leave, if the Cowboys don't trade him, they should seriously think about it, as we've cautioned them here on the channel. But if Michael Gallup leaves in free agency next year, because the Cowboys aren't going to pay him, they can't. They have so much already devoted to the offensive side of the ball in terms of resources and draft allocation. But when Michael Gallup leaves, you're going to be left without a big-time offensive weapon, right? You're going to have Amari Cooper, conceivably. You're going to have CeeDee Lamb. You're going to have Blake Jarwin if you want, and you could have Kyle Pitts, all right? You could have that right now, and you could have that at an incredible value, and so that is certainly worth talking about. Let's take a look at Kyle Pitts, and certainly, how are you not in love? 18 career touchdowns, 100 career receptions, almost 1,500 career yards, all right, in 3 seasons on a team that wasn't even good enough to beat Texas A&M. All right, like think about that for a second. All right, that's important to say. I don't know how you cannot be in love with this idea. And I get it. I get that the Cowboys need help defensively. It's understandable that you feel that way. Nobody that is Team Kyle Pitts, if you're Team Kyle Pitts, come on in. Bring it in. Let's hug it out. All right. But if you are not Team Kyle Pitts, you are likely screaming at your computer or your iPhone or your tablet or your PlayStation or whatever the case may be. However you're watching this, you're saying, RJ, look, I don't deny that Kyle Pitts is amazing. Look at his resume. I don't deny that whatsoever. But this defense is so bad. I agree with you. All right. But we cannot deny a future Hall of Famer in the name of addressing a need. And here's the thing. Am I 100% positive that this resume leads to a future Hall of Famer? No, because you can't be. You can't say that any player that you're drafting ever is faux show 100% going to be a Hall of Famer. But what I can say is it is much more likely that this player is going to be a Hall of Famer than it is that Patrick Surtain is going to be a Hall of Famer. As much as I love Patrick Surtain, I mean, you can love multiple players, but the reality is the likelihood of this player, Kyle Pitts, being something supremely special is significantly higher than it is for Patrick Surtain, for J.C. Horn, for Micah Parsons, whatever defensive player you want to use. It makes a lot of sense to be in love with this idea. I mean, it is hard. It is difficult to not look at Kyle Pitts' game and the idea of him falling to the ultimately 10th overall pick and not want to jump at that. And so I get it if you want to jump. In fact, I get it if you are literally prepared to jump. Somebody who might be prepared to jump, Jerry Jones, who according to Chris Mortensen is reportedly infatuated with Kyle Pitts.
We're hearing this thing about Jerry Jones, the owner of the Cowboys, and the GM being infatuated with Kyle Pitts. So I have figured out that he's going to have to trade up to get Kyle Pitts. He spent $40 million a year on Dak Prescott, so why not go get Kyle Pitts? Or if he actually falls to 10, you couldn't rule him out.
Now, yeah, you can be infatuated all you want. Jerry Jones was infatuated. Todd Archer of ESPN pointed this out on Friday. Jerry Jones was infatuated with Johnny Manziel. Again, big day for Fighting Texas Aggie football here on the Blog of the Boys YouTube channel. And the Cowboys wisely chose Zach Martin. All right, now this is not necessarily apples to apples in that situation, but it is worth saying that Jerry Jones doesn't necessarily always pick the players that he is infatuated with. Now, Jerry's infatuation is important to note here because it seems like the Cowboys would have to trade up to get Kyle Pitts because we outlined earlier, I don't think, honestly, that Kyle Pitts is going to last till 10 overall. If he did, you take him. You really do because there's no better value on the board. But it's really, really, really unlikely that he will last. And so that begs the question, should the Cowboys trade up for Kyle Pitts? I'll let you answer. Go ahead. Come on. Hit me with it. What do you got? That's interesting. Make a great case. I tell you what, I agree. All right. As much as I love Kyle Pitts, and I maintain that if he falls to the 10th overall pick, you jump on that and you feel great about it. But you do not trade up. In fact, you don't trade up for anybody in this draft. If the Cowboys wanted to trade up to go draft Penei Sewell, I suppose I could stomach it. And I suppose that it would make some sense, but it would certainly, shout a gigantic level of concern about Tyron Smith and his future, and really his future kind of really coming to a close with the Dallas Cowboys. But that would really, really fill a more prominent need in terms of the position that Penei Sewell plays, right? Because that's such an important position overall. You cannot jump up to get Kyle Pitts, as tantalizing of a prospect as he is, as large as the level of infatuation may be in your mind, in your cognitive dissonance. Is that what it is? Cognitive dissonance? I might be making that up. I think I saw that on a TV show, like that term. Like I think I saw it on an episode of something, and it's like fresh on my mind. So I'm saying it. It's whatever. Anyway, you cannot trade up to draft Kyle Pitts. You can't. It would be irresponsible. It would make sense if he fell to you for you to draft him, but trading up for him would be irresponsible. It would be reckless, and it would not be the right utilization of resources. Versus if he fell to you, if he falls to you, you're getting an incredible value, and you have to take it, but you can't pay more than what it's worth to you. And that's unfortunately what this would be. But if you're wondering where could the Cowboys trade up, obviously the Atlanta Falcons are an example. Adam Schefter of ESPN tweeted earlier this week, with teams locked into the first 3 overall picks, the Atlanta Falcons now have received trade calls from multiple teams and are open to moving out of the number 4 spot per source. It was 5 years ago that the Dallas Cowboys themselves held the 4th overall pick. The Cowboys have actually held a number of players who were taken 4th overall wind up in their possession. Right? You think about the year before they took Zeke with the 4th overall pick, they landed Darren McFadden in free agency from the Raiders, who was once upon a time the 4th overall pick in 2008. You think 3 years ago in 2018, the Cowboys traded for Amari Cooper, who was the 4th overall pick by the Oakland Raiders. All right, so 4th overall pick is kind of a popular thing when it comes to the Cowboys. All right, so I mean, I'm not saying, I'm just saying, but you cannot trade up. And I ultimately do believe, and we're going to be here during the draft. If you didn't know, we're going to be like live on Blogging the Boys YouTube channel. So make sure you're here. Make sure you subscribe so you're ready for the dance when it comes to the NFL draft. But I do believe that somebody's going to trade up with the Atlanta Falcons. I think it's got to be for a quarterback, though. And so that's a thing. Like, if you're competing with Team X, call it the Patriots, call it the Bears, calling the Falcons and saying, dude, man, did you see this? Quarterbacks went 1, 2, and 3 to the Jaguars, the Jets, and the 49ers. I need my 4th. I need the 4th quarterback. I need, whether it's Justin Fields or Mac Jones or whatever the case may be, I got to come get that guy. So it's already expensive to go up to the top 5, right? Like, it's already an expensive proposition. But if you're competing against a team that is trying to trade up to get a quarterback, that team is obviously going to be willing to spend a lot because the quarterback position is worth a lot. So you can't outmatch that. You can for the Dallas Cowboys. And that's why it would be fun. I mean, like, it would be a lot of fun if the Cowboys traded up ultimately to draft Kyle Pitts, but it would be reckless and it would be irresponsible, and that's that. But maybe Dan Quinn knows some people and pull some strings, whatever. I don't know. But either way, I think it's highly unlikely that the Cowboys trade up ultimately in general in terms of their first round pick. I do believe, and this is a whole different thing, but I do believe because the Dallas Cowboys hold so many picks. The Cowboys have 10 selections in the 2021 NFL Draft, if you were unaware. I do believe that they are going to ultimately trade up at some point. You think about it. The Cowboys obviously got 4 compensatory picks. They now have, 4 picks in the top 100. They have 6 picks in the first 4 rounds. So that's a lot of players, and you can certainly draft all those players, but we saw the Cowboys move up last year. Remember, they traded their original 5th round pick this year to go up in the 4th round last year with the Philadelphia Eagles of all teams and draft Tyler Biadasz. So they are not opposed to moving up if they feel like their guy is falling. And I'll say this again, we talked about it before with the Michael Gallup video that we did here on the channel, but if the Cowboys trade Michael Gallup before the draft, and there's still time, and the hypothetical we outlined was with the Baltimore Ravens. The Ravens hold the 58th overall pick. That is their pick in the 2nd round. The Cowboys' 2nd round pick is 44 overall. And so say Kyle Pitts does fall to you. All right? Kyle Pitts falls to you. You're pumped about it. You take him. Awesome. Great. Then this is what you do. You take the 44th overall pick, and you take the 58th overall pick, the pick that you got with the Baltimore Ravens, and you jump back into the 1st round, and you go get Caleb Farley so that you still address the cornerback position. If you watched the mock draft that we did here on the channel with the Talk of the Draft crew, Caleb Farley went 30 overall to the Buffalo Bills. And so if Caleb Farley is still hanging around there at the end of the first round, you jump back up and get him. Yes, there are some questions from a medical perspective, but the reason that it is valuable to get him in the first round is because Caleb Farley plays a position that is going to command at some point in the future a large amount of cheddar because cornerbacks get paid. If you can get that extra year, that fifth year option, that valuable, coveted fifth-year option on your player, it's certainly worth getting. Plus, I mean, obviously, if Caleb Farley's still hanging around at 30 overall, I mean, obviously there's people that are concerned about his medical situation because of what came up, but he's not going to last much longer than that. And so the Cowboys would be wise, if they do ultimately end up with Kyle Pitts, to consider jumping back up to get somebody like a Caleb Farley to take care of the defense, because I agree with you. The Cowboys defense was really bad last year, but you do not pass up generational talent when it falls your way, courtesy of the NFL draft. That's exactly how you end up with players like Taco Charlton or Caleb Von Chason instead of superstars like TJ Watt, or most recently, CeeDee Lamb. So just word of advice. That's all I'm saying. But yeah, so hope you enjoyed, had fun. Hope you enjoyed the Masters, whatever you got going on this weekend. Hope you're pumped because the NFL draft is coming up. Like I said, we're going to have you covered from head to toe at bloggingtheboys.com right here on the Blogging the Boys YouTube channel. So please subscribe. Make sure while you're subscribing to stuff to also go subscribe to the Blogging the Boys podcast network. We have a podcast network that's available on all major podcast platforms. Simply search for Blogging the Boys, subscribe, and if you can, leave a rating, write a review. Those things help us out so much. I hope you have the best weekend ever. I mean, I just hope you do. My name's Joe Ochoa, and I love you. I hope you have a great weekend. Like I said, the best weekend ever. The best weekend of all time. Just have the best weekend of all time. You know why? Because you deserve it. We'll see you next time.